us. Then this is called pulsing.
Africa Day is a special event on the calendar of our continent. It is on this day that we all reflect on our common past and also ponder the prospects that the future has for us in Africa. And in observing Africa Day, we celebrate the progress of our continent in almost a half a century of our liberation from colonialism. 48 years ago, our representative body, the Organization of African Union, as it then was formed, and it was succeeded in the year 2002, as we all know, by the African Union. The OAU was a culmination of a vision for a united and a free continent. During the freedom struggle, the founding fathers were always inspired by the Pan-Africanist vision with common aims, values, and aspirations for the people of this great continent. Today, we stand proud of the vision of Africa's founding fathers who stood together in the fight for our independence. The struggle persisted till almost every inch of the African soil was liberated. We therefore join hands today in paying tribute to our distinguished leaders, many of whom have since passed on. And this includes luminaries such as Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, the founding father of this nation, Kwame Nkrumah, and we all remember the strong passion for Pan-Africanism by Kwame Nkrumah, Gamal Abdel Nasser, Emperor Haile Selassie, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Sékou Touré, Modibo Keita, Mzee Kenneth Kaunda, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, Agostinho Neto, Samora Machel, Amilcar Cabral, Albert Luthuli, and of course we cannot forget the icon of Africa, Mzee Nelson Mandela, who capped it all. And in between, we can add other great names because this list clearly is not exhaustive. Our founding fathers are the real force behind Africa's successes in unity, in integration, socio-economic and political cooperation, and the removal of colonial vestiges such as apartheid. With a strong foundation laid by the founding fathers, Africa has built a formidable unity of purpose, which remains the envy of the entire globe, particularly in diplomatic circles. But sometimes I wonder whether African voice gets listened to anymore. That may be the subject for the 49th edition of Africa Day. Because this morning, I had occasion to join members of the United Nations Security Council, and the subject was Somalia. And I know that even as I speak, perhaps they're still in a closed-door session with President Sharif and the Speaker of Parliament of Somalia. We have on occasion called for serious intervention at the level of the UN Security Council in order to be able to deal firmly and conclusively with the situation of Somalia. But we sometimes get the feeling that it is like the rest of the world has left this problem just to Africa, and yet we know that it is a prime responsibility of the UN Security Council to ensure international peace and security. But I had occasion to thank them this morning because for the second time they've been able to come to Nairobi and hold their session here. And before coming to Nairobi, they're in Juba, and they're also in Addis Ababa, and they're in Khartoum. Now this shows that at the end of the day, the world is beginning to listen when Africa speaks firmly. But you see, we're just dealing with a very difficult situation. And I want to thank the chairperson of the African Union Commission, my dear brother, Jean Ping, because he has tried. He's even appointed a representative to Somalia. And if we all remember that in 1991, Siad Barre was removed from office, and that it has been 20 years, and that during that period, a normal child who was born in 1991 in Somalia is today 20 years, never been to school, and the only pen they really know of is an AK-47 rifle. Then you begin to fathom the complexity of the conflict in Somalia. But be that as it may, we think that time to listen to what Africa is saying has come. I want to applaud neighboring countries and East African member countries of Uganda and Burundi for standing together with the people of Somalia. I think we should actually give them a clap. Because if you imagine that Burundi is a country that has just recently emerged from conflict, and that she's able to send peacekeepers to Mogadishu, and that as a result they have lost so many of their young men trying to assist in restoring peace and amity in Somalia, you begin to really think that Africa can be very serious. Because Burundi was only recently helped by countries in the region, including South Africa. I remember the big efforts by President Nelson Mandela and, of course, President Beki and President Zuma. The bigger countries in Africa should emulate that example of Burundi, and all of us should come to the assistance of Somalia. I speak passionately about this because I've had occasion to talk strongly about the conflict in Somalia.